and welcome to Connect the World. I'm Lynda Kinkade, sitting in for Becky Anderson. Good to have you with us. We will continue to track the breaking news out of the United States. Michael Bloomberg dropping out of the race for the White House. But first, the extraordinary measures being used to stem the novel coronavirus as it spreads around the globe. Authorities are using technology to monitor quarantines, cancelling large events and also discouraging travel. Here in the United States, infections have now risen to 130. 9 people have died. And worldwide, the death toll is over 3,000, with nearly 94,000 people infected. Our Christian Amanpour reports.
A worldwide shortage of protective equipment is hampering the response to the coronavirus outbreak and leaving countries scrambling to prepare for public health emergencies. Rapidly depleting supplies of goggles, gloves and masks have left doctors and nurses dangerously ill-equipped, according to a new warning from the WHO, the World Health Organization. China announced a further drop in new cases, raising hopes that the outbreak is beginning to level off there, the hardest hit country and where it erupted. But across Asia, the number of confirmed infections continues to grow. In South Korea, where a spike was recorded, authorities are battling the contagion with technology. A GPS-based app is expected to monitor thousands of people under quarantine and set off an alarm if they leave their designated locations. Iran, one of the worst affected countries, will activate a 300,000-strong team of healthcare workers after reporting more than 90 deaths from the virus, including an advisor to the supreme leader. An outbreak of the virus in Iran's prisons prompted the temporary release of more than 54,000 inmates, including the British-Iranian Nazanin Ratcliffe. And the country's parliament has been suspended until further notice after some 23 lawmakers tested positive for the coronavirus. Across Europe, authorities are taking early precautions to stop person-to-person transmission, and several governments have banned large-scale gatherings and have closed some public places. Italy announced a significant increase in its death toll, bringing the number there to almost 80 dead, and most of them living in the north of the country. The disease and its knock-on effects have rattled markets all over the world, and a sudden interest rate cut by the U.S. Federal Reserve on Tuesday was designed to stimulate the economy and could be followed by similar actions from other countries. As for developing nations grappling with their public health response, the World Bank has now committed $12 billion in aid. Christiana Amanpour, CNN, London.
So as you just heard, Italy says it's considering a countrywide closure of schools and universities as the virus reaches more than 2,500 cases there. Well, I want to bring in our Ben Wedeman, who's live in Bergamo, Italy, and our Sam Kiley, who joins us from Abu Dhabi. Ben, first to you. So Italy has the biggest cluster of coronavirus outside of mainland China within Europe, and moving to close all schools and universities until mid-March is obviously going to be a huge undertaking. What does that mean for parents? Do they have to find a way to care for their kids and work from home?
Yeah, it's going to be a problem because many Italian parents, both mothers and fathers, have to work. However, the amount of work is dramatically down as a result of the slowdown in business that has resulted from the coronavirus. Now, just to give you an idea where we are, we're in Bergamo, which is northeast of Milan. This is in an area, this province has seen a spike in the number of new cases. And in addition to the government considering closing schools countrywide, and of course they've been closed in this part of Italy now for more than 2 weeks, they are also considering establishing new red zones, these containment areas where local inhabitants are not allowed to leave and others are not allowed to enter because of this spike in the numbers. And the numbers continue to climb. As of yesterday evening, the number of recorded cases was 2,502. And as Christian mentioned in that report, the death toll is climbing steadily. It's now at 78, and we expect new figures within the hour. The number of recorded new deaths was 27 in the previous 24 hours, and that's the largest single increase in one day. So the Italian authorities are considering all of these new measures, but they still haven't been able to determine whether the measures already taken, including establishments of these red zones in 11 towns and villages in this part of the country, whether they've actually been effective to stop the spread of the coronavirus.
Yeah,
Lynda?
exactly. Ben Wedeman, thanks so much. I want to bring in Sam Kiley in Abu Dhabi because obviously there's a huge proportion of Iranian politicians who now have the coronavirus, and there is some extreme measures being considered in Iran, including the release of thousands of prisoners and the activation of this national team of health workers.
Yeah, Iran is saying that they're going to activate 300,000 people from the sort of ruling Basti militia to act as healthcare workers. It's interesting to see how and whether they can train that number of people to control the spread of this virus. It's been focused very strongly recently, at least the reactions of the government around the city of Qum and around Evin prison. The prison, of course, the location where Nazanin Zaghari Ratcliffe is being held, the dual Iranian-British national accused by the Iranians of spying, an accusation that she and the government of the United Kingdom hotly dispute. The British have asked for clarity about what is her status in that prison and whether or not it is the case, as has been mooted, that some prisoners may be released at least on furlough to allow or prevent, rather, the further spread of that virus if indeed it has got into the prison. But this is all affecting other countries in the Middle East, particularly those that have close links with Iran, particularly geographical links. So Kuwait has got 47 confirmed cases, very small number of people in that country to start with. The numbers have been climbing steadily elsewhere. Iran, of course, has got nearly 3,000 confirmed cases, 92 dead. The United Arab Emirates has also, just like the Italians, but not indefinitely, they have for a month, at any rate at the beginning, today, suspended all schools and universities, a precautionary measure. But I think the most dramatic news, Lynda, is coming out of Saudi Arabia now, which is that the ongoing pilgrimage, not the annual Hajj pilgrimage, but the steady state of pilgrims visiting Mecca, is now being stopped. It was stopped last week for people coming into the country from outside. That has now been stopped by people for access to people inside the country. That's the first time that has happened in anybody's recorded memory. It didn't even happen when the MERS virus rose out of the Middle East some years back. But as a precautionary measure, again, because of very tight packed numbers of people on that pilgrimage into Mecca, and the many numbers living in tents and so on, make it very, very difficult indeed for the authorities to fully control the spread of this virus. So they've taken the unusual step now of preventing anybody go on pilgrimage for the time being to Mecca.
Yeah, certainly some unprecedented measures being taken. Sam Kiley for us in Abu Dhabi. Thanks so much. Well, for the latest on the coronavirus and to separate fact from fiction, subscribe and listen to our podcast. CNN's chief medical correspondent, Dr. Sanjay Gupta, will make sense of the headlines, speak with the experts, and give you all the information to keep you safe and healthy. Well, you're watching Connect the World. I'm Lynda Kinkade. Coming up, Bloomberg out, Biden now on top. Also ahead.
For over 1.5 years, we have been sacrificing our education to protest against your inaction.
Greta Thunberg pulling no punches with European lawmakers as they reveal new plans to tackle climate change.